30% discount. You can join the MOA today at MarianaOutdoors.com. Again, that's MarianaOutdoors.com. Schedule a tour at any time. You can message our Facebook page, which is Mariana Outdoorsman Association. And as always, we have a ton of information on YouTube. It's the MOA Outdoor channel. You can also listen to us. This show is always reposted on that particular YouTube channel, and you can also listen to us on Anchor Radio and Spotify podcasts with these exact shows as well. Can give us a call at 724-579-0924. Again, check us out at MarianaOutdoors.com. Registration for events or any type of information regarding our upcoming events, or if you're interested in a membership, or if you just want to book a tour. Again, 724-579-0924. We thank everybody for your continued support, and certainly look forward to some of the events that we have upcoming, not only this summer but into the fall. Also, special thanks to Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. If you're interested in booking a hunt this upcoming fall, whether that be an upland bird hunt or whether that be a whitetail deer hunt here in Pennsylvania, no fences. Everything is free range. Put a lot of time and effort into what we do. Please come and check us out. 10mileco.org. Again, that's 10mileco.org, which stands for 10 Mile Creek Outfitters, who is the managing group that watches over everything. And you can also give us a call to, if you have any questions, 724-579-0924. And last but not least, I want to give a special thanks to the Washington County Tourism Promotion Agency. Please visit Washington County, Pennsylvania. That being said, dive into some upcoming events for the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. This one is recently posted on social media, Thursday, July 11th, 6 o'clock, 6 to 9 p.m. at Kodiak's, what do they call it? So Kodiak's Barn and Grill. Sorry, I was going to say Bar and Grill. Kodiak's Barn and Grill, 1001 Gutman Boulevard, Charleroi, PA. Anybody that is a Mariana Outdoorsman Association member, Pennsylvania Farm Bureau member, or if you are a supporter of the energy industry, basically this is an opportunity, free event. It's a social happy hour, benefiting those that are interested in agriculture, conservation, and energy. Just trying to make connections with folks, meeting people, talking about what we do, what our goals are, and certainly, hopefully making new friends along the way. So again, if you'd like to attend, it's free of charge. That will be Thursday, July 11th, 6 to 9 p.m. at Kodiak's Barn and Grill. So happy to have you. Saturday, July 13th at 9 o'clock, it's the annual MOA golf outing. This year we are collaborating with the Fayette County Farm Bureau. Saturday, July 13th, it's Cedarbrook Golf Course, which is located right off of Route 51, not very far from Bell Vernon, right at the junction of actually 51 and Interstate 70. So happy to have you. It is $125 a person, $500 per team. And we are raising money to benefit agriculture and obviously the great outdoors with our conservation efforts of the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. So if you'd like to attend in any capacity, please, again, Facebook, social media, other accounts, including Instagram. YouTube is available online with our videos that reiterate all this stuff. And then, as always, all this stuff is consolidated on our website at MarianaOutdoors.com. Please don't hesitate at all. If you have any questions, message us on any of those platforms. We will get back to you ASAP. But again, we do have a few available openings for the golf outing. And also, if you still want to be a sponsor, we'd love to have you. Looking ahead towards the fall of this year, once the weather cools down, tentatively right now, the first stalking of the fall will be Saturday, October 5th at 9 a.m. As always, we meet at Wild Acres Farm, and we do both 10 Mile Creek and Daniels Run. Saturday, October the 19th, there is an Energy and Sportsman's Gun and Cash Bash located at 19 North Event Venue, which is located in Washington, PA. For those that haven't been there, this is a relatively newer venue. It's been operating for a few years now. Fantastic spot. Really excited about it. It is about a half of a block from the courthouse. lots of public parking there. So please, if you're interested, we will have information. This is a collaboration with the U.S. Oil and Gas Alliance and also the Marion Outdoorsman Association. So if you're certainly a supporter of conservation and energy, please let us know. We'd love to get you some tickets to this event. We also will have social attendance. But that being said, we will have tickets very, very soon for this. Again, follow all of our platforms, Marion Outdoorsman Association Facebook, and also I'll even have it on my LinkedIn under my name, Jason White. There's just a lot of ways to get information about these particular events and to attend. Sunday, December 15th, 6 o'clock in the morning. That'll be the 2024 Winter Fly Fishing Trout Tournament. This is for MOA members. That's what we're trying to target. It's a one-day fishing tournament. Love to have everybody. Just something different. Trying to how do I want to say this? Just trying to pull people together different times of the year, make it more competitive and fun. And fishing is not just an April thing. Sometimes I think it gets pushed a little too much as an April thing. Trout fishing in Pennsylvania is fantastic, depending on where you are and what the leaf conditions are, water temperature, etc. But when I say leaf conditions, that's the leaves dropping in off the fall trees. But from October to May, Pennsylvania as a whole is a fantastic fishery. So would love to see you in December. That being said, I wanted to talk about this heat wave that we're having right now. First and foremost, extremely critical for anybody out there. You personally, depending on what you're doing on your farm or any type of agriculture or conservation work, I can't stress this enough. If you can stay shaded, you need to stay shaded. Heat stroke is a thing. Heat exhaustion is a thing. It's nothing to joke with. Taking adequate breaks throughout the day is astronomically important because I can tell you, if you do not, it can have extremely negative adverse health effects. So try to stay shaded. I would say clothing that is very breathable. You do not want heavy cottons. You do not want things that are going to basically retain heat. Lighter colors, certainly a hat or some type of visor, sunglasses, sunscreen. But that being said, life cannot shut down, especially for those of the agricultural world and for those that have, animals, etc. This is a critical time where areas where there's shade, whether that's cattle having access to tree areas, tree canopies, wooded areas, cattle around barns being access to get into overhangs where they can be in the shade, areas where water sources are so critical. Sometimes we don't think about these things, but having a pond or something on the farm, a watering hole type of a scenario for cattle to get into, cool off, kind of get away from the flies and some of that intense heat. Areas for even in the wooded areas, little like drinking spots, adequate creek crossing areas for them to have access to water sources. These things are all critical, extremely important. I cannot stress them enough. I felt like I needed to touch on it because the heat that we're seeing right now, I don't know if we'll officially break the records for the 10-year in the span, but certainly it's pretty extreme heat for Pennsylvania. So just make sure you yourself are taking care of your own health, not doing anything kind of crazy, because heat stroke and just overheating as a whole is extremely bad for you. And I cannot stress this enough because I was actually doing a barn project that we've been working on this week, and we've went through cases and cases of water amongst, just like 3 people. But that's a very, very, very important thing. If you have the opportunity to have fans running, if you're in closed spaces or if you're in places, around a farm that you can have a fan running, I would highly recommend it. Heat like this is it's dangerous. It's certainly dangerous. So if you can stay cool, if you can stay shaded, if you can do anything to keep kind of the air moving and avoid the direct sun, I cannot stress to you enough from a health and safety perspective, you should take every opportunity to do that and, take care of yourself, take care of those animals. And even when I say animals, that's not just, farm animals. If you have pets or whatnot, you let them outside. I know a lot of people freak out about dogs and whatnot, or pets going out in the cold. I can assure you, you let a dog out and a dog does not have any shade and is in direct sunlight, you can be assured that you're doing as much damage, if not worse, than the cold. So just make sure that if you're letting them pets outside, make sure that they're in a shaded area, make sure that they can have access to water, because this is just kind of especially for this year, unprecedented for the calendar year, this type of heat. So just please, I'm just trying to stress to everybody the health and safety ramifications of the heat, whether that's agriculturally, during your work day, or even home with your pets, animals, and family and loved ones. So please take all the necessary and appropriate precautions. I want to shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about summertime trout fishing in Pennsylvania. I recently had an opportunity over Father's Day. My dad and I, we went fishing to 3 different streams. I went to Penns Creek up in the central part of the state. Also had the opportunity to go to the Kishiquillis Creek, and then we stopped at the Little Juniata on our way home near Tyrone, Pennsylvania. I must say, beautiful surroundings, beautiful streams. Certainly was not elbow to elbow or anything. I did see a lot of fishermen, but I was kind of struck by what I had experienced. So in all 3 locations, I know on other shows and in the past, I've talked a lot about the need and the benefits of fish habitat and how that can improve a fishery 365 days a year. There was in all 3 locations. I mean, obviously, I didn't fish the entire streams of them, but I fished areas that were high traffic zones. Fished areas that the Fish Commission stocks with trout. Kind of more of your high prone public access areas. Basically, little to no habitat improvement was viewed during my little fishing journey, which was a little startling to me, because the water temperatures were cold. All 3, I believe, off the top of my head, are listed as Class A streams that are stocked with trout. So I was kind of perplexed as to the fact of why we would not be pursuing habitat improvement. When I say habitat improvement, these are things such as boulder placement, things as rock deflectors, rock crossveins, things that create little plunge pools, opportunities for deeper holes to hold more fish, basically creating more water pools. Because what happens is when you get into these heat waves, or even the dog days of summer, a lot of these streams condense, and you need more space for the fish. And if the stream is going to condense, the best solution is to have more pool areas within the streams. It just makes it more conducive for the trout to survive and fish in the stream as a whole, whether that's bait fish, doesn't matter. Bait fish, big trout, bass, it does not matter. The fish are going to consolidate. So having pool areas is a critical piece and a key component of a healthy fishery. That being said, I was at 3 identified as Class A streams, and I just did not see any habitat improvement. And I was a little startled by that, because the water was still cold, but you just had a lot of places where it was kind of shallow and very flat. Those areas are terrible habitat. There's not much that's going to live there, not much that's going to survive. Those areas predominantly, and a lot of times, end up getting too much sunlight. and just not places that are very conducive for aquatic species collectively. Not to say they don't have a benefit in the ecosystem, because they clearly do, but those, and when I say that, like your gravel bar areas and areas where fish can reproduce and spawn and like that kind of stuff, clearly that's all critical. But when you talk about these elongated areas within these streams, especially if these are our high traffic areas, those areas are completely ineffective and inefficient. This is where habitat improvement, again, is critical, because if we're going to have high traffic areas where the Fish Commission stocks, and we're saying this is a good quality stream, which they are, these are areas you definitely want to do habitat improvement, because you want to create more plunge pools. You want to create more rock deflectors and eddies for fish to hide in, because if you're going to stock it, what ends up happening is the fish can't even survive there collectively. They'll start pushing through and stretching out, and then they have to find other pockets and pools for them to even survive. But I mean, for me, all three streams that I had the opportunity this past weekend to experience were absolutely tremendous, fantastic streams. Definitely, if you're going to stock areas and there's going to be high traffic, it's just a natural order of things. Like hypothetically, let's use this as an example. I go to a public access area, and there's let's just say within a half of a mile, let's say there's 10 fishable holes, and in those 10 fishable holes, realistically, there's, let's just say, 40 fish that the Fish Commission has stocked, and they're in those holes. Well, after opening day, if all the fishermen come through and take their legal amount, it does not take a very long time for basically that whole area to be wiped out. And I can assure you, what I experienced this past weekend was exactly that. Lots of little fish. I caught basically on all three streams, they were under the legal size in Pennsylvania. I do not keep fish. I don't have any intention on keeping fish, but it just kind of solidified my opinion on the matter. Basically, anything that was of legal size in those streams was gone. Not to say that there weren't any legal size fish in the streams, but of the fish that we caught and the fish that I saw anybody catch, and the fish that we could clearly see with our glasses looking at the water, the fish were all under the legal size in Pennsylvania. To me, I think that is a total mismanagement by the Pennsylvania Fish Commission. I think it's a travesty, honestly. To be into June, and I'm on 3 premier streams in the state, and basically our fishing policies and the way we have these streams set up, basically the fish that are even remotely of size have already been taken out. So everything that's left are 6-inch, 7-inch fish. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed catching 6-7-inch fish. But would somebody have a much better time catching bigger fish and catching more fish? The answer is absolutely, unequivocally yes. I certainly think there needs to be overhauls and reforms to the way that we manage our fisheries, because you're basically allowing people to go into these tremendous streams that could hold fish all year long, and you're allowing people to go in there and take basically anything over 7 inches out within the first month. So, let's just say people fish it hard in April, and then after May 1st, you're in a boat where you're stuck with little dinkers. I don't understand. I can't rationally wrap my head around it. It's like, why would you not want people to enjoy the fishery through the bulk of the year? Like, if it's listed as a Class A stream, it's clearly cold enough. And then people will sit here and say, well, there's a native brown trout or reproducing brown trout. Listen, there's no brown trout in Pennsylvania that's native. Anybody tells you that, they're lying to you. Brown trout come from Europe. They were brought here by people, put into our streams, waterways, raised at hatcheries. They're an invasive species. So anybody that tells you otherwise is completely and utterly telling you a lie. Rainbow trout, gold trout. Let's talk about them. they're an invasive species. They're from the west coast of the United States and the mountain range areas, your Yellowstones, your Snake River areas, like anything out in that whole corridor of the United States is where your rainbow trout have come from. The only thing native to Pennsylvania are the brook trout. I mean, if it were me and I could wave a magic wand, I mean, I would love to see more data on how our brook trout streams are handled. But personally, I think our brook trout streams should be handled like they do out at Yellowstone. I think it should be barbless hooks, single hook, catch and release. That's what I think our native brook trout areas should be. That's how you can maintain that. That should be like a high valued commodity in Pennsylvania. That being said, the other fisheries, for example, these Class A's that we're talking about, I understand there's an opening day. The 5 fish a day thing I think is insane. I think it's ridiculous. I think that needs changed. I think it completely needs changed. I think it should be at a max, probably 2 or 3 a day. I'm a firm believer in that. 5 a day, I think, is ridiculous. I think it's kind of insane, actually, because considering the fact that Fish Commission comes and stocks a stream, I mean, I could do the basic math here. Let's say they stock 300 fish in a stream, because that is their rough number that they use for when they come and stock a fishery. 300 fish, let's just say 100 fishermen show up, 100 fishermen take 5 fish a day. Let's do the math. You don't even have enough to accommodate 100 fishermen. So you're talking high-profile areas that can get wiped out in 1 to 2 weeks. I don't understand. It doesn't make any rational sense to me. And we're allowing these areas to be completely wiped out in the month of April, and then they're still good the duration of the summer. But and hear me out here. These streams are not. You're talking now. Oh well, there's brown trout reproducing. Well, again, brown trout are invasive. So let's remove that argument that it's some Pennsylvania fish. It's no different than the ringneck pheasant. It's not a Pennsylvania species. Didn't come from Pennsylvania in any capacity. So like those are just utter facts. So how do you manage a fishery for 365 day a year benefits? So like, these communities that are in these areas, summertime is when people are camping. Summertime is when people want to go to cabins. Summertime is when people want to get away. Well, why would you not manage a fishery to accommodate people to utilize them even during those periods of time? And that's what I boggle my mind. Like a community like Tyrone, Pennsylvania could use travel and tourism. They have some big stone mines, whatnot. It's small town America, but that extra travel and tourism is a tremendous benefit to a community like that. So why you would want the fish to be wiped out in those streams, I completely do not understand. And if the argument is that, oh, well, there's brown trout reproducing, I just think that's stupid. Because if brown trout are reproducing there, again, they're not native to Pennsylvania. Number 2, you're already stocking it with 3 other species of trout, which is fact. I mean, it's all over the website. They're stocking these areas. It's the managerial practice of what we're doing here. Like, why would you not want those fish to be available during the summer months? Like, why? Number 1, why aren't we stocking in like the fall and winter months? And then why aren't we stocking after the season? Like, in my mind, there should be probably like a mid-April and even, depending on the weather conditions, a May stocking. I cannot rationally grasp in my head the management practices and also the justification when you have a cold water stream that will hold trout all summer. Like, I can tell you that, like at the Marion Outdoorsman Association, we have a cold water fishery and we have what I call a marginal warm water fishery. Actually, I call it a cool fishery. And why I call it a cool fishery is the state doesn't even acknowledge a stream as a cool fishery. It's either warm or cold. Completely disagree. The reason I say that is to classify it as warm means a trout would never survive there. A stream like 10 Mile Creek will hold and sustain trout basically 9 months out of the year. Like we have trout right now. If the habitat is good, trout will survive in those areas. So what does that mean? Remember what I've been saying and advocating about these plunge pools and oxygen and rock cross veins. We have a small, I actually did not build this one, but we have like a little mini one like that was an old dam that's been knocked down, and it's basically a plunge pool. And because there's more than adequate oxygen there and also depth, the trout are still fine. Areas that are long stagnant pool areas that 9 months out of the year are totally fine, you get into these hot days like this, it's not good. It's not good for the fish in any capacity. There's not enough oxygen, and you don't have enough shade to biologically for them to handle the stresses of that. That being said, the 9 months out of the year, so even a stream like 10 Mile, if we can do the work that we need to do to create better habitat, I firmly believe that trout can make it 10 to 12 months a year for sure, if I can get better oxygen into that watershed. But that's critical. Oxygen, depth of cover with shade, and adequate, how do I want to say this? Adequate coverage for them to get away from predators. Because when you have shallow water, it's just open to predation. And whether that's predators like bears, predators like raccoons, blue heron, osprey, bald eagles, they all are predators of fish. So the better the habitat, the better the opportunity survival. And that includes, like what I'm saying right now, streams that are identified as warm water are warm water, but they're not being managed to be more conducive towards the aquatic species for 365 days a year. That being said, the second piece of this puzzle is you look at how it's being managed. We want to put and take trout in warm water fisheries. So if our stream is a warm water fishery, basically the Fish Commission wants to put fish in, and boom, immediately the fish are taken. Well, okay, let's just hypothetically say we concede the fact of being cool, and we say we're warm. Well, even at the Marine Outdoorsman Association, people are allowed to keep 2 fish a week starting May 1st through the duration of the summer out of 10 Mile, which is our cool water fishery. That premise totally works, totally keeps fish on hand. May 1st is a great time to start that. We definitely don't do 5 a day. That is ridiculous. You would wipe out a fishery in a week, and you'd have to stock thousands and thousands of fish to even remotely sustain yourself. So those are just things that, are something to think about. You look at these other places that are Class A or listed as Class A that could hold trout 365 days a year, and we're not doing adequate fish habitat improvement at the state level, number one. Number two, we're just allowing 5 fish a day from every fisherman and wiping the whole fishery out. So that way the small businesses and the fishermen as a whole and tourists cannot come and have that prime experience through the summer when people want to be camping, when people do want to be outside, when people do want to rent cabins, when people do want to get away. I just do not understand. Clearly fishing is a huge piece of everyone's lives, predominantly in Pennsylvania in some capacity, whether it's something you love for leisure or you're a consumer of fish within your diet. When you look at it from a totally different perspective, look at it from a travel and tourism perspective. There are immense opportunities to draw people to Pennsylvania and to catch fish throughout the summer when people are kids are out of school, parents want to do vacations, parents want to get away. Well, guess what? people want to go and catch quality fish. They want to be able to get away. They want to have a nice fishing experience. If a stream is totally wiped out and there's only 6-inch fish in there, that is not a prime experience. Yeah, the surroundings might be prime and pristine, but if you're not managing the fishery to be effective through the duration of the year, this is a management practice by the Pennsylvania Fish Commission that has direct economic impacts to local communities. You're talking about people that then would be more prone to visit parts of Pennsylvania, rural parts of Pennsylvania, areas from, whether it's, look at all the surrounding states, the Ohios, New Yorks, Maryland's, West Virginia's. People would be more apt to come to Pennsylvania for a vacation, to get away, come out of the cities of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, to go out to rural America, get a cabin, go to a camp, pitch a tent, to go fishing. But I can tell you, as an avid fisherman, as somebody that manages a fishery, people want to catch quality fish. That is what they want to do. That is what's feasible. The arguments of managing our fisheries to accommodate brown trout or whatever else sales pitch regarding invasive trout species, to me, is utterly insane. I totally can wrap my head around the conversation of brook trout. Native Pennsylvania fish, to me, it should be handled like they do out in Yellowstone. Barbless hooks, catch and release, end of story, boom. That's how you manage and maintain our brook trout fisheries. And I do think we should do additional habitat improvement on them as well. But they should be cherished for the heritage of Pennsylvania. They should be cherished for what they are. They should be managed and protected for what they are. That way people could have an amazing fishing experience and that resource never be damaged. These other marginal streams to where we don't have native brook trout, and we're putting in all these different species of fish, and then we're going to all of a sudden say, well, brown trout are reproducing. Well, okay, so just because a brown trout reproduced, an invasive species now reproduced, we are going to not manage this fishery for 365. We're going to manage it to accommodate some put and take philosophy for April, and then we're going to just allow 6-inch brown trout to sustain themselves in a fishery. Completely and utterly do not understand. It seems to me to be a broken travel and tourism economic plan. I understand the Pennsylvania Fish Commission clearly doesn't see the, I don't know, maybe they don't see the benefits. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they don't see what they're doing and see the economic impacts of people coming to traveling. I mean, when you talk about trade, the goal is to break even or to be the plus. To me, this whole business model of the Fish Commission puts us in a negative, because people should want to come to Pennsylvania to fish. People should want to come to Pennsylvania to know that, oh, geez, it's 110 degrees in Florida. You know what? I'm going to fly up to Pennsylvania. It's not 110 degrees right now. It's kind of 90, but normally it's usually upper 70s, lower 80s in the summer. I'm going to go to the mountains, get a cabin, get away, and I'm going to go catch some nice trout, stocked or not. Doesn't really matter. But when we have fishery management to where we're pulling the fish out of these streams that are then identified, like I said, as Class A being a cold water stream that can sustain trout year round. But we're going to let people go and take these fish out to then be left with the prime travel and tourism months of the year for people off in the summer are left with 6-inch fish. Would you rather take a picture with a 20-inch trout, or would you rather have a 6-inch rainbow trout in your hands? We all know the answer to this. This is not rocket science. This is actually very simple business 101. People want to have that once-in-a-lifetime experience. I cannot, in my mind, rationally understand why they choose to allow this 5 fish a day. I think it's quite utterly insane. I think our fisheries management is lacking. I really do. I don't mean that as an insult to the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. I give that as a constructive criticism, based upon the facts. Good for the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission that they're driving people to buy fishing licenses for opening day of trout season. Well, guess what? A fishery should be managed 365 days a year, not just towards the gear of selling fishing licenses and to drive people out for opening day and then, well, we'll see you later. Guess what? And it's okay to drive people for that opening day weekend. It's okay to drive people for that nostalgia. But guess what? There are fishermen across Pennsylvania that'll fish all year. There are fishermen across the entire United States that would travel to Pennsylvania for the opportunity to fish all year. If we disregard our fisheries, basically, let's just say from June till the end of September, we basically are missing out on opportunities that could be an adequate benefit. Now, some people might say, well, a lot of people go up to Lake Erie during the summer, or they go up to Lake Ontario in New York, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it, for sure. It's certainly a big thing. I can tell you, it's a huge thing. People in Ohio love to go. I've met a lot of people from Ohio, love to go to Erie in the summertime. To each their own. To each their own. It's something that fishing is a very diverse, very broad spectrumed opportunity for people. A lot of opportunities up at Erie and even up in Ontario. If you want to go walleye, perch, king salmon up on Ontario, steelhead, etc., trolling. So I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. But those are definitely great summertime avenues. But again, not everybody's going to do that. It's no different than not everybody's going to go trout fishing. People will go trout fishing and catch trophy trout. Certainly, I would say without a doubt, beyond going for something 6 inches. Have I gone to the native brook trout streams? Have I gone to places where I knew I was going to catch smaller fish? Absolutely. It's more of a nostalgia thing. It's not something I'm going to do. It might be something I do once a year or even every other year. To some, they might do it more than that. I'm sure that they do it more than that. But for me, it's more about the thrill. It's more about the experience of doing something I haven't done before. Catching that fish that's bigger than the one before. Catching that species that I've never seen. Something I've never held. Something I've never touched. Be going places and traveling places we've never been. So for me, Pennsylvania has so many beautiful, beautiful streams and fisheries and opportunities. But the moral of the story is we can do a better job managing those assets to draw people, to attract people, to benefit businesses, to get young people out on waterways with their families. And again, that is not just an opening weekend of trout season proposition. Good, well-managed fisheries present opportunities 365 days a year. At the end of the day, that is what I advocate to you. That is based upon experience. That is based upon successful business practices. And I hope with the knowledge of this, that you can share that with your sportsmen's groups, that you can share that with your local elected officials, state officials, so on and so forth, because the more of us that talk about it, there are so many amazing opportunities here in Pennsylvania to expand fishing, to expand our fisheries, to improve the habitat, to be better when it comes to management of conservation management practices, to get the benefits, the max benefits of travel and tourism, to draw more people. But that only comes with better management. So keep it under your hat, think about it, and certainly, these will be other conversations we move through. But I want to reiterate again, it's super, super hot out there. Please, 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 please do everything you need to when it comes to the heat. Protect yourself, protect your loved ones, protect your pets. Even your animals at the farm, make sure they have shade, make sure they have water. give them every opportunity for them to get out of this extreme heat. That being said, I want to wrap up by following up about our sponsors. Special thanks to the Mariana Outdoorsman Association. You can join the MOA today at MarianaOutdoors.com. Again, MarianaOutdoors.com. Book a tour today, 724-579-0924. And please, we have a bunch of upcoming events. Everything's on Facebook, Mariana Outdoorsman Association at Facebook. Also, MarianaOutdoors.com. All of our events are there. And then, as I said before, we have numerous different platforms that we utilize to convey our information. MOA Outdoor Channel at YouTube. And then you can follow us on Anchor and Spotify to listen to this actual show and all of our recorded shows from the past. Special thanks to the Wild Acres Farm, Fishery, and Regulated Hunting Grounds. Before you know it, we're going to be doing upland bird hunts and deer hunts. Come check us out, 724-579-0924. Website is 10milesco.org. And I failed to mention earlier, we're going to be starting flower picking here soon, and also fresh veggies. So if you're somebody that really likes to do that stuff, you can come and pick a mason jar of farm fresh flowers, or you can do an actual bucket of flowers, or you can come and do a bucket of veggies. So whatever works for you. Again, 10milesco.org. The location of Wild Acres Farm is 1997 Morey Road, Clarksville, Pennsylvania, 15322. And last but not least, I want to give a special thanks to Washington County Tourism and Promotion Agency. Please visit Washington County, Pennsylvania today. It's been great. It's been wonderful. Please, 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 on an ending note, it's hot. Watch yourselves, watch your family, watch your friends. Stay out of the heat, stay air conditioned. Until next week, my friends, this has been The Great Outdoors. I'm Jason White. Have a great day. God bless.
And you're listening to WMBS Uniontown. It's 11 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.